In this video, I'm going to teach you how to learn to draw anything. Alright, check this out. If you can draw these 5 simple shapes, a dot, a line, a triangle, a circle, and a square, you can draw whatever you want. Alright, way back when I was a kid, maybe like 6 or 7 years old, I got this Halloween book called Ed Emberley's Big Orange Drawing Book. The entire thing was filled with step-by-step instructions on how you can use simple shapes to construct a ton of different drawings. In this case, orange Halloween drawings. And I drew everything in that book. All of it. So check this one out. It's one of my favorite Ed Emberley books. Most of his drawing books are like this. There's step-by-step instructions on how to construct different characters, vehicles, buildings, and terrain to create your own world. Like this last section here has all these simple ways of drawing grass and trees and mountains. It's like perfect for doing a fantasy world map. This is just a great place to start. It's basically drawing stick figures and there's tons of instructions. Anyone can do it. It'll literally take you no time to master this stuff. And the same principles apply of using the basic shapes to construct and build your own drawings. So, okay, it's cool to be able to draw little stick figures and stuff, but you're probably thinking, what about more complicated, more detail, more complex drawings? Well, I'll tell you the honest truth. It's no different. Doesn't matter how complicated the drawing is, you're still using those basic shapes. Dots, lines, triangles, circles, and squares. Okay, check it out. This is a stick figure, right? You can draw this. Anyone can draw this. It's just a circle, a few lines for the body, arms, and legs, some dots for eyes, and a curved line for the mouth. Super simple, right? Let's take it up a notch, get a little more complex. And this, I'm using a marker so you can clearly see what I'm drawing, but I suggest maybe using a pencil so you can erase if you need to. Alright, we're gonna start with a circle for a head again. Same dot eyes and a little curved line for the mouth. Now, just to get a little more complicated, I'm gonna add a triangle minus one side for the nose. Super easy. Throw in some half circles for the ears. Now, instead of just a line for the body, let's make it a rectangle. And now, same thing. Instead of lines for the arms and the legs, we're gonna make them into rectangles. Give them some volume. We'll add some little triangles for feet and do little W's for hands. Keeping it simple here. There'll be an entire video about hands later. Now we're just gonna use a few more lines to connect all the parts. And if you wanna get super fancy, you can add some details like t-shirt and pants and shoes. And lastly, of course, we're gonna do some scribbling for the hair. See, we're already making more complex images, but none of the actual drawing is any more complicated than what it takes to draw a stick figure. Everything's still just simple shapes. At some point, you might see illustrators making images straight out of their head and onto the paper. No planning, no erasing, just straight into it. So how is it that I can just draw a dragon straight out of my head? Well, it's because I've already figured out how to construct a dragon. I've drawn enough dragons that I sort of know how they work, or I've at least figured out enough that I can somewhat confidently draw something that resembles a dragon without constructing it out of those simple shapes. This isn't the best drawing, but hopefully you can tell what I'm getting at here. Once you've gone through the process of constructing something out of these simple shapes, you'll get a better handle of how it works and you'll be able to just go for it and draw it straight out of your head. What I'm trying to say is that construction is the key to drawing. And by using those 5 simple shapes, you can construct anything. Just like how Ed Emberley shows us in his books. But if you really want to learn how to draw anything and everything, you're not always going to have a set of step-by-step instructions on how to construct everything you're looking to draw. So now what I'm going to show you how to do is how to deconstruct something so you can rebuild it as a drawing. Alright, remember that dragon drawing? Let's break it down into those most basic shapes. dots, lines, triangles, circles, and squares. Rectangles, I know the rectangles, I just like saying squares better. Okay, again, I'm just using Sharpies so you can clearly see what I'm doing. Definitely suggest using a pencil and eraser because this is the planning stage of doing a drawing. Usually all of my drawings start out just like this. I'm just blocking in circles and squares, connecting basic shapes with lines. I'm figuring out the forms and masses of the dragon and then building it up from there. So the actual process of this is just like the Ed Emberley stuff, only it's not so much of a step-by-step, it's more of an experiment or a puzzle. I'm looking at the original drawing and I'm trying to figure out how to build this new dragon out of these simple shapes. Now, of course, there's other stuff going on here like anatomy, volume, perspective, but the more time you spend breaking stuff down like this, the faster you'll start picking up on those more complex ideas. And you know, I'll also be making videos explaining all that stuff as well in the future. Okay, what I want you to remember is that this is really just a sketch. It starts very basic, you know, circle for a head, same as the stick figure. There's 2 circles for the body. The legs are just connected rectangles and the wing is just a giant triangle. And then from there, it just gets more and more detailed as I go. I keep refining the drawing by adding more and more shapes. I'm just using rectangles and triangles for the horns, curved lines for the neck and tail, little half circles for the details and the wings, and triangles for the spikes all along the dragon's back. But really, it's just those simple original 5 shapes. Like the eye is just a triangle with a dot in it. Nothing complicated. Also, if I was using a pencil, I'd be erasing some of these overlapping lines and solidifying the drawing more and more as I go. In the end, I might even put a new sheet of paper on top and completely redraw it, or refine it even more by using a pen or a marker over top and erasing the pencil sketch underneath. The point is, if you want to learn how to draw something, anything, all you gotta do is figure out the basic shapes of the thing, and after that, adding those details on top is super easy. Okay, now I know this video is called How to Draw Anything, and so far we've only drawn a stick figure and a dragon, and obviously we're not gonna go over every possible thing you can draw, but you get the idea. You can use these 5 shapes to deconstruct anything and rebuild it into whatever you wanna draw. All right, it's time to continue on your drawing quest. Grab a sheet of paper and a pencil. Eraser always helps, and start deconstructing stuff. You can look at a car, you can take a picture of your best friend, you can use someone else's drawing of an owl bear and start finding those simple shapes. Spend the time to deconstruct the thing in front of you, whatever it is you're interested in drawing, simplify it down, and then build it back up. Okay, drawing from life is a really, really awesome way to learn how real world stuff works. How things are constructed, how they move, how they look at different angles and in different perspectives. It's really a fundamental way of learning how to draw. But what if the stuff you want to draw doesn't exist in real life? Stuff like dragons. The other great way of learning how to draw is to copy other illustrations. But here's the thing, if you really want to learn and improve quickly, you're not just copying the drawing, you gotta do what we did with the dragon. Take the image and deconstruct it. Again, break it down into those simple shapes and then build the complexity back on top. And if you do that, if you spend the time to break it down and build it back up, 1, your drawing is gonna get better, and 2, you're gonna improve and level up your drawing way faster. I promise. Now hang on just a minute. Copying other artists, dude, isn't that like unethical? Isn't that like cheating? Well, not really. But yeah, there are some big disclaimers we should go over when talking about copying other illustrations. First of all, copying another illustration can still be really hard. The artist of the original illustration probably has lots of practice and experience drawing in a certain way. They're using tools that you probably don't have immediate access to. And there are just tons and tons of other little things that make up how someone illustrates something. I know it kind of goes against the premise of this video, but there are other things that go into creating drawings and illustrations. Line weight, perspective, overlapping forms, light, color, texture. Of course, we're gonna get into all that stuff later in other videos, so stay tuned. All this is to say, don't get discouraged if you can't match the illustration you're copying exactly. Remember, you're just trying to learn how to deconstruct it into the basic shapes and then rebuild it, not trying to match it perfectly. The second big thing about copying, and this is really, really important, if you're copying a drawing, you must give credit to the artist, especially if you're sharing your copy in the real world or on social media. You have to let people know that you copied the illustration, and you have to let people know who did the original. Also, don't ever, ever, ever try and sell a copy. Even if you drew it from scratch, it's still a copy and you don't own the copyright. The only real reason to copy somebody else's drawing is for your own learning purposes. That's it. Okay, enough serious talk. It is time to continue on your drawing quest. Start deconstructing and start rebuilding. If you can think of something cool to draw, start by using those 5 basic shapes: dots, lines, triangles, circles, and squares, and build it up to be more complex from there. Alright, if this video has encouraged you to start on your drawing quest, I want to hear about it. I want to see it. Show me your drawings on social media. Tag me on Twitter or Instagram. And of course, while you're there, check out all the fun stuff I've been making. I try and post pretty much every day. Okay, thank you so much for checking out this video. Lots more fun stuff to come. Keep drawing. Keep drawing. Keep drawing.